Now, Mr. Matos, would you say that you need some psychiatric help and you shouldn't be in prison and you should be in a mental hospital? And the reason why I asked this question is because I let a homicide officer, retired homicide officer, listen to your interview. And he said
Yeah,
that this man should not be in prison. He should be in a mental hospital. What man kills four people and live in
right.
the home with these six body? I mean, these four bodies for 1 week. Only an
Yeah,
insane man would do that. And he was just saying
exactly.
that if you were here in Michigan, you would have been placed in a mental institution because
Yeah.
a sane person does not kill four people and live in the house with them for 6 days, rotting, stinking, and decomposing the way that you did.
And that's the problem with the Florida system. They don't care about what your mind, you know, they don't care what's wrong with your mind or if you're crazy or insane. All they care about is putting people in prison for a long time. And that's the problem with the Florida law system. They are not compassionate and they don't use any type of logical thinking when it comes to handling certain cases. Clearly, I was not in the right state of mind. I lost my mind and I was insane while this was happening. And anyone in the right state of mind would have left that house the moment this happened. They would have left. They wouldn't have stood in the house and waited for the cops to come and you know deal with the smell of decomposing bodies. And you know I lost my mind. I was clearly insane while this was going down. You know, these people try to murder me. Megan, Gregory, and Nicholas, after, even during, especially during the time when they were trying to murder me, that's when I lost my mind and snapped and lost touch with reality. When people have multiple guns pointed at you and they're pulling the trigger, trying to get a shot off, your your mind is mentally preparing itself for death. And in that moment, there is some chemical being released in your brain, so it protects you, so you don't have to feel the pain. And
Exactly.
in that moment, that's what was happening to me, and that right there is proof that I was not in the right state of mind. When that process happens to your brain, you are not thinking clearly anymore. You know what I mean? You lose touch with reality.
Okay. And he brought up another good question, and he wanted to know is like, was it brought up in court at your trial? Why was this man even in the home with a loaded handgun? And he wanted to know, was the gun an illegal handgun or was it registered to him? That was,
They never,
questions. Was those
they,
questions asked?
they never even mentioned it. My attorneys, they did the best when it came to saving my life from the death penalty, but they didn't do the best when it came to protecting me of my rights. They didn't really try too hard because they were public defenders. If I had a paid attorney, I'm sure he would have did a lot more to help me and fight. But state of Florida, they don't really care about your rights. They don't, all they want to do is send you to jail. They don't care if you're innocent. They just want to get a conviction, and it's inhumane how they treat people in certain cases. When people lose their minds, when you're put in a situation where you have to defend yourself, they don't care about who's right or wrong. They just want a conviction, and they did nothing to bring up the issue about his gun and why he brought it to the house. Did he have a permit to carry a gun? Was it, was the gun in his name? Was it a legitimate, gun? They didn't mention any of this, and they wanted to keep all that out because, it would probably have hurt their side, and the judge, she did everything in her power to aid the state. She even went as far as showing them YouTube videos of how to hack into my cell phone, even after she already made it clear that she was going to get a warrant to get into the phone anyway. They sent the phone to Apple out in California. And California had to get into my phone to retrieve certain files so they can show it in court, because I didn't remember my passcode. I hadn't used my phone for 3 years by the time we went to trial, and she expected me to remember my password, which I didn't. So she made it clear by repeating it over and over. Oh, he's refusing to give us the passcode. Do anything in your power to hack into the phone. We're going to get a warrant, but in the meantime, come look over here on my laptop computer. Here's a YouTube video of how to bypass the iOS lock screen. And it's right there in the courtroom. She's showing a YouTube tutorial to the state attorneys on how to bypass the iOS 7 or iOS lock screen. And she's not allowed to do that. She's not an investigator or detective, and you're not allowed to be doing that. That's the state attorney's job. Why are you doing their job?
Mm-hmm.
And even during the jury pool, when we were selecting a jury, there were so many errors that the judge and the state attorneys made when we were picking jurors. They struck out all the minorities.
Mm-hmm.
So they made sure that I had 0 minorities in my jury.
Wow.
Because obviously Pasco County is racist, and they don't want minorities on a death penalty trial, because it might hurt their chances of getting someone sent to death row.
Right. Now, is it true that one of Nicholas's friends were coming to testify that Nicholas had the gun and it was an illegal handgun, and the prosecutor shut him down real quick and did not let him testify? Is that true?
Yes. They did everything they possibly could. When it came to the truth coming out, they would stop it right there. They would have a sidebar, and then they would continue. And then they would, leave all that out. They would tell the jury, hey, anything you heard, disregard it. When Nicholas Leonard's friend came to trial, he testified and said that he gave him a ride the morning of August 28th. He gave him a ride to the bar that he was at the night before with Megan to retrieve his truck.
Mm-hmm.
And was in his vehicle driving him to get his truck. Nicholas told him that he had his firearm with him, and that if given the opportunity, he would use it against me to shoot me and take my life. And as he was trying to explain that, the state attorney quickly stopped him and objected and cut him off, and they left all that out and never revealed it to the jury. And there was times when I was trying to explain things that Nicholas Leonard was trying to tell me when he talked to me the day of, before the incident. He was telling me that he's done with Megan, and he doesn't want to see her anymore. Right. That she's a bipolar whore, and he doesn't want anything to do with her. And they made sure they stopped me and tried to leave that out of the trial, and they told the jury to disregard that because they didn't feel like it was something that should be shared. They didn't feel that it was important, but it was to show what state of mind he was in. And also, it was an excited utterance. They say that hearsay can't be admitted into, into a trial in the state of Florida, but only when it's an excited utterance. And at the time, he sounded excited, and he was telling me this. He was screaming on the phone, excited, saying, "Oh, she's a crazy whore. She's bipolar. I'm done with her. I don't want anything." You know what I mean? Whenever her phone calls to her friends or the police, they made sure all that was put into trial. All that was excited utterance. But they did everything in their power to make sure they aided the state and pretty much railroad me.
Wow. Now, yeah, because that is hearsay, and they would not, allow that in court.